Hello,
Oh,
hello.
how's it going?
Is it working now?
Yeah, it is.
Do I
Live. It's a whole
have to
intro and
check on
everything.
YouTube? Oh,
Just to
it's
make
making me
sure.
subscribe to YouTube Premium. No, it's working. It's working. We're good. We're here.
Yeah,
I was
finally.
about to say we're
That,
here. We're queer, but I mean, you're not queer. I'm queer. I'm filled
well, I
with
mean,
existential fear.
I was gonna say like it's still, it's still. I would say. I mean,
Right?
I'm
How's
not.
it
I'm not
going?
going to say that I am. That's not what I'm saying. Just I mean, cover all the bases. I'm fine with that.
I'm just double checking that we're also on LinkedIn. I know
We should be.
we're good on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let me check
Let's
your
see.
profile, sir.
I
Yep.
like this as a platform a little bit better than OBS, but um, I mean, like, don't really have an option either. Have to use
I
that.
like how Leonard just posted like now that's a countdown. That's great. It says we
Yeah.
have 4 viewers on LinkedIn. I think one of them's me, one of them's Leonard. The LinkedIn comments should be coming through, right?
I
Through the
think
stream.
so. I don't see
But
anything yet.
yeah, well, if any of y'all LinkedIn peeps are here, I'd appreciate a comment or two so we can see if the comment thing is working
Just a
on the
test.
stream and stuff as a test. So yeah, how have you been doing, Nico, with like your experiments and just your week and stuff?
Pretty good. I gotta say, pretty good. This week I was playing around with 3 different uh, note takers. Yeah, three
Hmm.
different AI note takers, and one of them was Avoma. The other was Fireflies, which I've been using for a while, and then the other one was a new one that's it's like I think it's available. Yeah, it is available now,
Yeah,
um, but it's like it's in its infancy. It's called Versational,
yeah.
and that one is super interesting because it's a crazy powerhouse of like software. Um, Basically, like the two guys, well, not two, but like the guys that are working on it, um, they did a great job in terms of how much like work they've put into the underbelly of this thing. So like they built their own LLM to work within the software. Oh my gosh! And I think that you just froze up. Let's see. Hopefully, hopefully she defaults to just no camera.
Hello, hello. I'm back.
Yeah, yeah.
I think my
I don't think your
system.
bandwidth can handle the camera at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. I'll just be like this little circle thing. Maybe I can upload
I
like
need
a
to
little
yeah.
icon.
I was just gonna say like put your chibi icon up there.
Let me grab that. But I also noticed that the LinkedIn comments aren't coming through to the chat stream because I did see Leonard was like commenting.
Yeah, I don't know why chat platform support, of course.
Good morning from sunny Florida. Nice. Thank you for
Yeah,
joining us
sunny's
today. I just have it. I basically just have LinkedIn open on my smartphone so that I can see where the comments are coming from.
yeah.
You
That'll
have
do.
a you ever send me my chibi? I mean, I have like other chibis I can use
Thank
honestly.
you.
Just me being the weeb that I am.
Yes,
Or
well, I didn't send you the
you can do
solo
like
one.
this
Hold
one.
on. Let's
The one that like HubSpot generated for me at some point.
Oh my gosh, really? You got HubSpot to do one for you?
Yeah, this one. You see it?
Oh, hold on. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. That's not bad, honestly. That's really not bad. Oh my gosh, it won't enlarge your
And
icon.
because it has to show you that I'm speaking, you know.
Um, I don't know. I don't know why it keeps it so small,
Yeah,
but
right.
no, that's hilarious. Let me see if I can. I know it's in here somewhere.
So yeah, well, Nico's tinkering with that. So we were actually exploring this week how to use code interpreter with some LinkedIn data, because I one of the biggest things that I was having a problem with LinkedIn is like just finding tools that will give me good insights on how my posts are actually doing and how to optimize them.
Mhm.
um, we do have Analytics, which a lot of people really like, and I know people use that for like they actually pay the subscription. Like a lot of the people who are serious about their LinkedIn profiles and whatnot. But I was like, even the built-in tools, there's not a lot going on there. I was actually telling Nico this week how when you go on Facebook analytics or Instagram analytics, you get pretty decent amount of data there. LinkedIn is
Mhm.
still not there when it comes to that. So I was like, is there any way we can like get get something better out of that? So I found that you can actually export your entire LinkedIn data from your settings, and then it will include everything that you've posted um, in your entire profile. And then you can also export your engagements and impressions and whatnot, and you can use code interpreter to kind of match things up, and then use it to do all sorts of like analysis on your content.
Yeah, I liked. It was hilarious that when you started showing it, or when you started showing me like what the data looked like, because Christine sent me a link to her GPT output, and it was nuts. Like I didn't really think that you could cross reference like that deep into whatever your data set was, and then as soon as we started like pulling the data down and finding all the different resources to grab it, then it just made it that much better to be able to cross reference engagements um, by level or by number of impressions, by different post content that you did, and like what the effectiveness is of it, when you should be posting, what day of the week, all that kind of stuff. And I think, I forget which set of data had, I think it was only the post, what was it, share commentary or something like that. I think it was only that file that had the timestamps on it, which doesn't really help too much. I wish the engagement data and impressions data had the timestamps on it, because that would at least give you the time of day to also be effective in posting. But maybe
Yeah, but
soon.
like if you clean up the data well enough and
Mhm.
somehow get it to match the impressions to the timestamps with like the time the file that has the timestamps, then you
Yeah.
can actually get the time of day, because that's how I got um my data on best time of day for posting.
Oh, okay. Hmm. I was trying to get it to do a cross reference with that, but it kept uh, it kept choking out whenever it would try to use the share file. Like it couldn't make the, for whatever
Yeah.
reason, it couldn't draw the comparison.
Yeah.
I tried it so many different ways, and then I tried the raw scrape. I don't know how many times, and that one was really just trying to get interpreter to like split that file up so that it made more sense, so that I wouldn't have to do it manually.
Yeah.
But that wasn't happening. It got really close, but then it started putting the actual data, like the raw numbers, into the post itself, or like as part of it. And then
Yeah.
even with all the directions to like, hey, separate this out and stuff, like I don't know, it went dead there, but still, it was still like good data to use to find out like where you're um, where you've gone, like in terms of some people asking, have I changed in terms of what I used to post versus what I post now. You could still use that share file to be able to tell that, and that file goes all the way back to I think it goes all the way back to the beginning. So it goes back, it's like literally the entire history of all of the posts you've ever made. And you can take a look at what you used to post, let's say last year, versus what you're posting about this year versus what you were posting about 3 months ago. And you can take a look at the evolution of your topic and then measure that against the evolution of your impressions and engagement, so that you can actually sort of see over time, like at least what subject matter is the most effective as well. Um, so that at least that was some insight that I could draw from it without having to try to clash the two files.
Yeah, I'll eventually make a video of like what I did and stuff. I'm still playing around with like the best way to do it for consistent results, but
Mm.
for the most part it was like pretty good insights. I have some good strategies for how to optimize my LinkedIn profile and stuff.
Nice.
All right. So what are we up to today?
So we're gonna show the fine folks at home how to do the same thing that we were doing, basically.
Yeah.
So I guess start with like actually LinkedIn, and like where you go to get all of this data is going into your analytics and tools, and then you go into your post impressions, and then right there you're going to see this export ability, and you can export that data to basically get some raw data on your impressions and post data, and then where was the overall?
The overall one, you go into like set like me up there on the top.
Yep, settings. That's it.
Set Yeah, it'll be in settings and privacy up there. Up, up, up.
And
Then you go to data privacy.
then get a copy of your data,
Yep.
and then export your data. And you can do stuff in particular, but as you can see, it's only messages, registration, profile. It's not going to include your posts, so you have to do the full download. The sort of nice part about that is you do get some data ahead of time, so it'll send you an email like halfway through the data dump that shows you some of the data that you're going to get. it's it's not, I mean, yeah, I guess it is stuff depending on what you dig through. Like it kind of depends on what you want to do for the comparison, but once you get the entire data dump, that's where you're going to get your posts and engagements and impression numbers.
Yeah, and just to note with the data export from LinkedIn, so it actually takes 24 hours or a little bit more than that to get your entire data. Because so within like an hour or so, they'll give you some basic stuff, but it doesn't include all the posts that you've made. I think it basically needs to scrape through your entire profile, and it takes time to do that, which is why if you want to get the full file, you'll just have to wait a little bit. So yeah, for me,
Mhm.
I waited maybe like around 28 hours, even though it told me that it'll be done within 24.
Right, right. It was like a day and a half. Let's see. So I could see what. Oh gosh, what is the? Why do I lose words when I need to use them? It's my one setback to using GPT.
Can you
I,
please speak for me though? That'd be
yeah.
great.
To see what, I don't know. Yeah, really, to see what data. Oh, that's it. I think it's 3
Just cycling through different pictures of myself. Just
Oh
use
my
my
gosh.
actual face now.
So we're going to start with number of followers.
Can you give the USB camera another shot? There you go. Hello.
Welcome back.
No- I mean, hopefully it stays like that. What if I put it on the lowest resolution? Maybe that will help.
It
No,
should.
it's gonna stay
Oh,
in the
wow.
corner. Ah,
Oh my
help.
gosh. It's breaking up so much. Oh, see, that's the thing is like, I don't know. It's funny if I broke mine down to the same amount, right? And then it looks like we're hosting a webcast from like the late 90s or something.
Yeah, like using those cameras with the very tiny screens, trying to take a selfie.
So it's doing some early calculations that I didn't ask it to do. I asked it to sort of wait and wait for the next spreadsheet. Actually, I didn't say wait for the next one. I just said there's going to be three. So it already started pulling some insights from the follower data set, where it says how many followers have gained over a period represented in the data, how many followers I gained per day, highest number of followers in a single day, and peak new followers occurred in July. Wow, that happened. Wow, that's
See,
I
there's
see. That's what I'm
already
saying.
like some really good data from that.
Right, like I didn't know it was this month. I would have figured it was like earlier or something in the year. Keep in mind the basic insights. Okay, so here's the second sheet. I don't know why there was a 3 there.
This is the code interpreter version, by the way, for anyone who's kind of wondering how this is possible. Code interpreter, you can basically upload Excel sheets. It used to be able to like read images, but they turned that off because
Yeah.
last time they couldn't read a PDF, and I took a screenshot and gave it to code interpreter, and it actually managed to get the text from that. But I tried it again a couple days ago, and yeah, it doesn't do that again. But so basically, it works really well with like documents, images, not so much at the moment.
Hmm.
Hello, James. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, James. I wish I could see you guys' chat. I don't want to
I
run
know we'll
multiple
have to figure
systems.
that out next time. At the very
Oh,
least, I can see people chatting on the LinkedIn on the LinkedIn app on my phone. Thank
let's
God
see.
for multiple devices in this day and age.
Gosh, and then if I pull up the stream on YouTube.
You should show them what the actual content export looks like from LinkedIn, so they just
Oh,
have an
okay.
idea.
Let's see. Look at some of my drive data. That's the velocity
Shares,
rate. So this is what
shares from.
shares looks like. Gives you the date and then the actual content that you shared from that date.
Yeah.
And
It
this is the one
the
that's
only
like,
thing with it is like it doesn't tell you the post type. So for example, if you posted an
right.
image with it, or if you posted a video, so in terms of like um analyzing which post types work the best, you might have to do a different export. So, at least in my case, if you have Inlytics already on your account, I'll link it in the chat later.
Okay.
But basically, if you have Inlytics on your LinkedIn, you can do an export from Inlytics itself, and Inlytics has the post types next to the post, including the engagement metrics. The only problem with Inlytics is that the post content is just a preview. So essentially, when I had to fix my files, I needed to ask Code Interpreter to figure out how to put the two data files together so I could actually do a proper analysis. So yeah, so
I wish, like, I need.
Nico just shared the shared export from LinkedIn, and this content export is the one that you export from the actual like impressions and engagements section of your
Mhm.
LinkedIn profile.
And you need to, in order to use it with Code Interpreter, you need to use either PDFs or CSVs, um,
Yeah.
because it's what do you call it? Because it's spreadsheet data. I'm just doing a CSV.
Mm.
Let's see. That's the so one of the issues that I found, and this is why I was wondering if I could do this, but apparently it didn't. Um, so I was looking at where is it? I was looking at the not the raw scrape shares, and what I had wanted to do was to try to match up. Initially with shares, there was links to the share commentary, but because they weren't really doing me any good, I got rid of that column because what I was hoping is that the links in the share commentary would match up to the links here. But trying, did a VLOOKUP, literally nothing matches up. And then I looked at it again, and these are actually completely different links than the ones that you get from your share commentary. Um,
Mm.
so it's weird. Like no two even match up on this page, so you can't even like match up, which sucks. Um, Post URL for impressions to post URL for engagements. I'm not
Mm.
entirely sure why. Um, but at least you can. And that's what kills me because then it's like, well, it can't go search the post either, so it can't really tell me anything more than published date and impressions, right?
Mm.
Which is pretty much the same thing that you get there. Um,
Yeah.
let's see.
But were you able to map out the impressions and engagements based off of the URL or something like that
Um,
from that file?
no, that's what I mean. Is
Yeah.
like the two don't match up anywhere. Wait, never mind.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
but see,
You could ask Code
that matches
Interpreter to
there.
like match it up. Be like
Well, that
post URL is the identifier and then like make sure that the impressions and engagements are like together.
right, but
Hello. Thank you
I was
for
trying to
joining
match
us
up
on
with
YouTube.
the. Oh, I can see DKP on YouTube.
DKP.
Yeah,
Who is DKP? Who
Leo.
who
Oh,
who is Leo?
is that Leonard?
Leonard. Hi.
Leonard the Leo? That would be great.
Leonard the Leo.
Um, so yeah, I mean, like this wasn't a big deal. It was more trying to match it to the actual post content. So it's like
Yeah.
this is great, but again, like I'd have to actually go through the feed to find the post to pull it. I mean, it's cool, I guess, if you want to pull like a top 10 and then you can go into like those 10 links and check out that data.
Yeah.
To me, that works, but I don't know, like you wouldn't be able to use it for like top 100, but I guess you wouldn't really want top 100. I don't know. Depends.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I've exported highest level of engagement, number of followers. I just did top posts. I think I already have shares downloaded from yesterday. So here's the highest level of engagement. I always like to try to be polite to GPT. Give it a chance.
Yeah, this is what I've been telling people, right? Because this is trained on natural language, and when we speak naturally, when somebody is nice to us, we tend to give better answers. So, just going from that perspective, just being nice to it, I would expect better answers just because of like the training data that it got, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's supposed to work with you and it's supposed to be an assistant. So just like in real life, if you imagine talking down to your assistant all the time, like maybe they'll hallucinate a little bit more than usual.
Yeah. Though Leo, like in my version of this, because I was using the Inlytics account, I was able to get like the full content of everything and match up like the times and all that other stuff. But like
Mm,
right now we're just working off of like what information we can actually export directly from LinkedIn without having to go through an external like application and stuff.
hmm. Sorry, Leo's saying that he has been
Told that please and thank you confuse the AI. I guess it depends, right? Because it's
possible.
like it's all based off of probability. I'm just like thinking in terms of probability. If I'm nice to it, it'll give me better answers. But at the same time, I can imagine if you say thank you at a point where it hasn't completely done something that you wanted, then you're giving it positive feedback at a point where it shouldn't be getting positive feedback, which
That's
kind of
just so
sucks,
good.
right?
That would be great, right? If like you could talk it into doing that.
Yeah, please give me
Which
extra tokens.
I was gonna say, I don't know, Kristeen. I think you've played around with the extra instructions, right?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So if you guys are wondering like why it says, thank you, Nico, every time that I give it an instruction, or even when we entered the chat to begin with, now you can give GPT like a sort of subroutine, not a subroutine. I don't want to say that because that would subvert
It's
programming, but
basically
something like that.
like a template, like instructions that apply to all your new conversations. So there's two boxes there. One, it's
Yeah.
like introduce yourself, who you are, and it gives you like a certain number of characters you can use to just kind of tell GPT who you are and what you do, what your goals are, and stuff like that. And then another box is for how you'd like the responses to be. I've actually had to like adjust mine because it became overly friendly, and I'm like, I don't need you to be positive every single time. It's
Oh
like
my
it
gosh.
started like basically telling me that I got this at the point where I was still asking it questions. I'm like, I don't need you to, because I know I don't got this yet, right? That's why I'm asking
Right.
you for stuff. Can you please like not give me a you got this at this point? So yeah, I mean, like it's obviously a beta feature, so it needs some um fine tuning and stuff. But it is pretty good in that you don't have to keep introducing yourself at the very least. Like now it just knows that I'm Kristeen and I'm a HubSpot specialist and I do so and so.
Right. You can do it.
You can do yeah.
Like it's, I mean, you know, but here's the thing. It's not, so here's what's so cool about that is if you were trying to build a GPT bot to be a motivational coach,
Yeah.
now you can, and it has all of this personality of like a motivational coach. So it does give you that like extra reinforcement when you need it or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
especially if you're like building it out to be like a dietitian for you, right?
But funny thing is, I did apply that to a coach instance in my chat GPT, but like yeah, it was just giving me the you got this away like way too much. So it just started feeling disingenuous. So I think it probably needs a little bit more training there. Because I think if you just did it as a normal prompt, it wouldn't do that as much. But because you have the the custom instructions plus the prompt, then it kind of feels like it has to do more of that, probably, is what I'm kind of thinking.
Mm-hmm. Um, Let me
Wow,
think.
it also
Okay.
does length of posts already for you. Another thing that I kind of found with testing this whole like analyzing my LinkedIn data stuff was the whole I tried one instance where I didn't give it the instructions of being a social media specialist first and just like focused on the data, like data cleanup first, and then made it into a specialist. I got some pretty good results from there. Um, but then when I tried it, like giving it the persona of a social media specialist from the very beginning, that's when the results kind of like it wasn't as strong in the data cleanup process as it was in the previous instance. So at least from what I'm finding, if you're trying to do the data cleanup first, just leave it as it is. Just leave
Mm-hmm.
it as code interpreter first. And once you have that data cleaned up, you introduce the persona of like, hey, you're a social media strategist. I'm doing a content audit right now. Can you give me a report of what I can do to improve my posts, how I'm performing right now, and stuff like that? Then it kind of does its job better.
So here I've asked it, like it went back, right? And I said, okay, well, what are the insights from all the data? And basically it just put together, you know, several paragraphs that were quite literally what everything it's told us before, which
Yeah.
is all right, but not really that great. Nothing we didn't already know because of what it said before. So then I asked it to take the sheets and cross-reference them against each other and see what it could pull out. And it's automatically telling me it's going to draw correlations between the post content and engagements over impressions. It's going to draw a relationship between the new followers and engagements over impressions. And then it's going to also try to do temporal patterns where it looks for patterns related to the timings of the post. Let's see. So on certain days or times of the week associated with higher engagement or higher impressions. So it's going to try to merge the data sets. Got top posts and list of shares data. Let's see what it can do. Avoid duplication. Correlation, we can observe the following. There are a moderate positive correlation between of 0.32 between the number of followers and impressions. This suggests that the days on when your posts were displayed more, you tended to get a higher gain,
Huh.
which, you know, I didn't
Makes
like.
sense.
Well, and so here's what's odd about this data set, right? Is most notably there's a strong positive correlation of 0.73 between, now I wonder if that's 73%, right? If that's what's supposed to relate
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Between impressions and engagements, this means that the posts that you displayed were more often generally received more engagements. Um, I mean, let's see that, you know, it's good to know, I suppose. But new followers and engagements. The only thing that's weird about this data is I have noticed lately, so like, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, you
Yeah.
probably noticed that like I was essentially, and I'm sorry guys, because I know if you're following me, it shows up on your feed, but I would like, dump the same post to like 4 different or 5 different channels, right? Especially groups. And, thinking that, hey, the more outreach, the better, right? Because at least all of these groups are going to see it. And I didn't really think that other people, when they're looking at my feed, I didn't think that they would see what's going on. But turns out that they do. So it was really turning people off, and like my level of engagement and impressions was like kind of going down and then tapering off, right? So then in the last 2 weeks, I've just been taking a little bit more time, which is what I used to do. So I kind of got out of that rut, and I've been taking more time to just make more. This is, this goes to everything everybody has said about AI thus far, as opposed to trying to push the same content out to more channels, which basically creates more content. I spent more time focusing on the actual content itself and only resharing it to one channel that was related to the content. And all of a sudden, my impressions and engagements start going up and up and up. Right. Um, so it's a little bit weird to see that it agrees, or it seems to think that like more posts equals more followers. That was the only thing that kind of threw
Yeah.
me.
Though that kind of comes from the fact that it's not a content strategist yet. It's just pure data like
Data now.
analyst mode at the
Yeah.
moment. It's kind of like if you don't have that background of knowing how social media works and all that, and you're just basing your findings off of the numbers,
Hmm.
that would be the conclusion that you would get. So I mean, like, I mean, this just goes to prove the whole like you need to think critically about the data and everything, just even just interacting with chat gpt. And it's like, a lot of people there, I also made a post about this earlier this week, right? The whole like underhyping of like AI versus the overhyping of AI. So you have
Hmm.
on one end like the people who are like AI is not going to do anything because it doesn't know how to like do all these, it doesn't know how to personalize, it doesn't know how to actually like do stuff with the data. And to some extent it is true, but the reason why it doesn't know what to do with the data is because you're not giving it the right instructions. So
Right.
if you know how data generally works and where the biases come from and why these suggestions might come out, then it's easier for you to redirect your AI assistants to actually give you the insights that will be valuable, right? And then on the other side of this, right, there's the people who are like overhyping AI and they're just like, yeah, like AI is gonna like replace every single job in the world and we're gonna lose all our jobs and stuff like that. No, this whole exercise just proves that you just need to think critically. And especially the people who are underhyping it, they're like, yeah, humans are gonna be important. Like you really need to act like humans are important by
Right.
being more critical and knowing, like having deeper knowledge of how these tools work and how you can get the most out of it. Sorry,
Yeah.
random rant.
No,
Okay.
no, it's totally relevant though. Like that's the thing, is like the the human touch is still very very relevant, right? And it's still very very necessary. So yes, these things again, they're tools, right? So you're not supposed to absolutely replace everything that you're doing with GPT or with Claude or Midjourney or whatever it is. It's supposed to supplement and help you with what it is you're doing. And there are times where I've said, like, and I agree with Altman too. Like, yes, there's going to be like some like job loss, right? But again, it's averted if you understand how to work with this stuff and you learn how to work with this stuff and you don't let it be like so um, feel like it's an impending doom or whatever. Like that's where people I think get really hung up on this being a negative thing, is they feel like it's coming after their job or whatever, and it's like that's only if you you want it to, I suppose,
Yeah.
is the best way to put it. So
Alrighty.
looking at this, we've got Monday, it's showing essentially the number of posts on each type of day, and then it's showing the level of engagement or level of impressions on those days, as well as the number of engagements on those days. So it's saying appears that Tuesday with the highest level, highest average impressions. Sunday has the highest average engagements. Interestingly, because part of my underlying uh, instructions for GPT is to like think outside the box and to not constrain itself when it comes to giving opinions or making assumptions. So I wanted to see like how, I don't know if that's a direct effect of it or not, but that'd be awesome if it is.
You should try
Um,
asking it to categorize your posts into like content buckets. So
hmm,
the prompt that I really like for that is use like some language modeling to categorize the posts based off of that. Because if you just tell it to categorize the post, what it will do is it will look at all the words that you've used and find like essentially create like one of those what do you call that, those diagrams where you have like the words larger than the others if you use it the most. So it started like telling me that I use really a lot and that posts that have really did really well, and I'm like, yeah. But that's not an actual like content theme. So if you ask it to use a language model to categorize your content, that's where it gets better. So what it did with my content is like, okay, so we've split it up into HubSpot tips and tricks, RevOps stuff, news, and then just some personal updates. And then based off of those categorizations, it's almost like tagging each of the posts. Then you could go deeper into, okay, so when does this specific category work well, or which of these categories are actually doing better and stuff like that.
let's see.
Right, where we are in Claude at the moment. If anybody doesn't know what Claude is this other AI tool. It has its own model. It's completely free right now. You can sign up at the link. It's Claude.ai. And we found that it's been really great at creating chat GPT prompts.
Hmm.
But then like I tried doing a content strategist chat GPT prompt from Claude, and it specifically added like point forms of like what the content like analyst should do, and then chat GPT took that quite literally and structured the entire thing based off of those how the points were structured. So I had to just figure out how to like not constrain it. So sometimes constraining it by giving it like specific instructions actually hinders chat GPT. So sometimes you do have to just give it its own freedom to interpret the instructions is what I've
Right.
found. You have to see what how it does with you with this prompt. Because like with me, like yeah, it literally took those points and just made those the sections of the report for me.
Yeah, so I think I think I've said this before. If I haven't, then you guys should know because I posted about it not too long ago. Um, I don't like I really don't sit here and like from scratch engineer posts anymore because there's really no point in me doing that. I'm wasting a lot of time doing a lot of extra work that I feel I don't have to. And like I said, these things are tools, so you should learn how to use one in relation to the other. And so, like, while GPT is really great at processing, and especially here with processing data and whatnot, it's not really good at like overall like human writing and human style writing and sound like human sounding writing. Claude is way better at that. It does a great. If you wanted a language model to write you a book, I would use Claude because because it would sound as close to being human as possible. So, given that's the case, I use Claude to write GPT prompts because the natural language that Claude produces uh, works better. And it's, as you can see, it's much faster than what it would take me to get the same idea across. Um, so, okay, supposedly, right, based on the prompt that we gave it, um, it's going to act like a social media content analyst. It's going to come up with themes, optimizing post themes, quality over quantity. Okay. So what was the challenge?
Content category and like doing analysis based off of each content category, essentially.
Let's see. Let's see. All right. I would love to see if I can do this. Typically. So let's see if we can actually come up with it. It's doing AI posts and non-AI posts. Okay. I could and I should have given it categories to throw things under. But this is interesting because it's like, well, I wanted to, I don't know, perhaps, right? I don't know. Again, like this is like, hey, what have I been writing about for the last 6 months? So it could be that case.
Oh,
So
wow,
this
it's
is
giving
not
you a
bad.
table.
Yeah, no, I asked it to do it in a table because I just prefer it that way, let's say.
Yeah, I love tables. I think that should be like a custom instruction I need to put into my instance. Use tables and visualizations as much like, as necessary or something.
So if you guys are wondering like what is going on here and like this data looks bunk and what the hell, it's that on this day, these are the posts that were made. This is the category those posts fell under. This is the number of impressions overall for that day. This is the number of engagements overall for that day by these posts, right? So in case you're wondering like, why is this the same number? Or why is this the same number? Why is the date the same? It's basically showing you by this day, here's what happened. But I would like it to, let's see, break this down by category. Use um, let's see if it understands that. That is pretty complicated in terms of instruction.
Extract all the hashtags. All right, so it's doing that.
Nice.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Where like I love that it's proactive. It's like when you do give it some like instructions that aren't super specific. It's like specific, but not like specific enough. Like you have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
Code interpretor tries its best to find other ways to get to the same result, which I really really like. And then it tells you what it's doing, so you can actually um, tell it if it's going the like in the right direction and stuff.
Right. So we've extracted all count and counted all the hashtags. AI got used 262 times, Midjourney 94. That's crazy. I didn't think that I'd tagged it that many times.
Ooh, can you ask it to like make a graph out of that or something?
So if you guys wanted to know, there are 36 AI toys of the day If you look under that hashtag, those are all mine, right? I think maybe one other person used that hashtag, but I'm pretty sure all 36 of those are mine. And all 36 are more than likely worth playing with. More than likely. I don't use AI toys that are useless. So I most of the time I just check them out to see if like other people might be able to use them. Like maybe I don't, but in the marketing sphere, somebody else might. So it's 474 uniques. Let's see, create. So yeah, in case you guys didn't see from last week, Code Interpreter is one of the more badass things that it can do is to take your data and turn it into a visualization so that you can actually see it as opposed to just having to read it. Also, if you're wondering like what it's doing under the hood when it says that it's working, it's writing its own Python code so that it can handle your data and give you the results of it. So, you know, how complicated is Code Interpreter? It writes its own miniature programs in order to do what it needs to do to give you your data. So there we go. Most top 20 most frequent hashtags. So it even did a larger list than this top 5. And it put it in a nice little bar graph format that we can understand, gave us by the level of frequency that it appears. Man, pretty good.
Yeah, and that's great for like those content marketers who have to create content audits and reports, because now you can just like if there's a way for you to extract all of that data from the client accounts, and also not just like the post content, but obviously the impressions, engagements, and all that other stuff. And you know what data is available on those exports and how you can manipulate that data into good insights for those audits, then Code Interpreter is just huge. Like a lot of these tasks would have taken me like what, 3 hours or something, 2-3 hours, and now you can just do it within minutes. You know, we've only been live for like 48 minutes, and you know, and we've only been playing around with this for about like what, 30 or something. So
right,
you already have so many insights just from importing these files into Code Interpreter and being able to ask it the right questions.
Regular feature and discuss different AI tools. Let's see other topics. So let's see.
Instead of just like doing further analysis, you should ask it to also provide suggestions.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think if you have it as a content analyst already, hopefully it will already give you some good insights. Because when I just left it as a normal data analyst, it was just giving me very generic advice, like, "Oh, you should post more often." Like, "Oh yeah, of course I have to post more often." Like,
yeah, right.
You want more impressions, you just put more posts out, right? But like when you give it the persona of like an actual content specialist, that's where the magic happens.
So do what you've already been doing. Okay, optimizing my posting schedule has worked a little
Yeah.
bit. Like the time of day that I post now is more consistent. Quality over quantity. What was I saying earlier, right? So like earlier it was telling me before we put the to Kristeen's point, before we put the content, like the social media content aspect of it into Interpreter, it actually told me like quantity over quality. It said like, oh, if you post and share it in multiple places all the time, you're going to increase your engagements, which is technically correct. But again, it's I think overall you might get higher engagements in some, but not others. So you're beating a dead horse by doing that. Whereas here, now that we've got the content assistant loaded up in here, it's telling us quality over quantity. Experiment with different content types. Okay.
If you
So
do
that's
like,
the thing is, like,
was
you
it
might think,
Mm.
you might think like sometimes that you're too stale on what you talk about and that it's like all AI, or whatever. Um, and it's like, well, you can break it up by not just always talking about like the latest advancement. It could be that advancement related to, what you do every day, or related to your job, or maybe you're talking about like an AI advancement that changes another aspect of life that also affects people on a daily.
Is
Sorry, I
it?
cut you off here.
I was gonna ask like if we could ask it to maybe do a content audit style of what do you call that, report for you based off of like the data that it's analyzed and stuff so far.
Let's see.
Absolutely, Nico.
Right?
See, it
I
does
love
like
how it
an
formats it.
overview, key metrics. I think, but then the thing is, when you ask it to do a content audit report, I think it just defaults to using text first. At least at the moment with with this version of a code interpreter. So if you want visualizations, you have to ask it specifically, can you add some useful visualizations and graphs for the insights?
I want to try something a little bit more complicated.
Let's see. Go for it. Let's go. Ask it to do a PDF. Well, let's see document. Let's see what it does with document.
Come on.
Let's go. Show us what you
Let's
got.
go. Do it. Do it. So excited. Like every time
This
we do
is why I
something.
love like working with you. It's where just you just put wilder things on top of whatever I come up with.
Let's do something crazy with it though. Come on. It looks like it is. It is
You
trying
can do
very
it.
hard.
Let's
Oh my
go.
god. It is. Let's go, baby. Come on. You can do it. You can do it.
Hey,
It's making a document.
obviously we still need to check all these figures and stuff, but the fact that it's
Right.
already building the document is already a
And
big thing,
picture.
right?
That's so great.
And then if it's not great, then
Oh,
you
is
can
it
just go
just
back and
that
be like,
though?
fix it.
Oh
See?
shoot. Created a Word document. Okay. Let's see what you got. So there's our Word doc. Let's see. I don't want to take a look
You
at
have
it
to
there
like
because
share reshare, I think, because it's stuck on that browser, right?
well,
Oh,
I
you
don't
can.
have
Okay.
Word, so
You don't have.
I
Oh, so
guess
you still have to put it on Drive anyway.
yeah, yeah. Where is it?
I'm not a believer of Microsoft, huh?
No, no, I'm not.
Though Microsoft
It's
Teams,
not.
the
It's not so
AI
much
stuff there is
that.
pretty okay.
It's that they it's that they should like I shouldn't have to like really be paying, that like the extra for Word and stuff at this point. Like
Yeah.
clearly you guys have made the money back on that.
Hey,
Okay. Look at
and
that. And it
it
even
even put in like fancy headings and stuff.
here's the thing. If it only gave me the one chart, see,
It
like
only gave me one chart. Yeah,
I can't do that. Okay.
that's the thing. Like the whole like visualization part of like I've also done this with it, right? When I asked it to make a content audit or generate some sort of report, like it doesn't know where the graphs are supposed to be at the moment. Like it gives like really good, like it gives like pretty good insights and like on the key metrics and provide some recommendations, especially if you ask it to be a experienced content strategist who, I don't know, who's experienced with like influencers on LinkedIn or something, right? But when
Mhm.
it comes to actually generating the visualizations, it starts getting confused at that point.
Right.
It's not like when you give it the raw data and then you're like, hey, can you also like, what insights can you get from this? It actually generates like some pretty good graphs based off of that. But once it actually goes into this whole like, okay, I've asked you to make an audit, it gets confused. Yeah, I've asked for multiple charts, graphs, and illustrations, and then sometimes it just doesn't hit the mark of like what is actually a valuable insight based off of all the data that we've kind of like put through it. So even if you do ask it for multiple ones, it gets kind of confused. It might get better over time because I mean the code interpreter is still like
Oh,
what
dash my
it's been out.
dreams.
It's been out for like a couple weeks at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
it's
think
gonna
it's
get
just
better,
been
I think.
oh for
It just
sure.
needs a little bit more fine tuning and identifying the different insights that are actually valuable in different audits and reports, I feel.
There we go. Hell yeah.
Impressions over time. Let's go. Yay.
And that is from the first one. Oh no. Yep, it is. Okay, good. So it's making them per set, and then it can
Though
insert them into the doc, I think.
also to be fair, I
Oh
am also thinking if you have any like gold standard content audits or whatever, you could have probably just plugged it into code interpreter as well and be like this is what I'm generally looking for in a content audit. Now here is some data and please analyze everything. Maybe that will help out.
yeah, I shouldn't have. I didn't notice that there wasn't actual there wasn't numerical data in the rest of it. It's like you know what do you call it, psychographic data. Um, but it should still be able to chart psychographic data, right?
Yep.
I think that's what it's trying to do here.
The one thing I do want to try out this week is how well it does in what they call that, the user journey mapping, for example, or site mapping and whatnot.
Let's see. Oh wow, it actually relabeled this too. Look, content audit report with visuals.
Yeah, it updates the file names and stuff, which is great.
It is.
Which it
There you
makes it
go.
less confusing for it and for us at the same time.
I had to fit it on a separate
My
page.
light automation is gonna turn off my light in a second.
Oh no.
We're
Time to
gonna
go.
what? Oop.
Time to go, guys. There
No,
we
it's
go.
at 11. At 11 p.m. My main lights are supposed to turn off. Oh, there you go. Slightly
There we
turned
go.
off.
Okay, cool. That's not bad. I mean,
Yeah, it's not bad.
not
It's a
amazing,
starting
right? But
point, right?
yeah,
It's not like something that I can give a client at this point.
right.
But again, like code interpreter has been out,
Yeah.
and again, it's like it's a decent starting point if you're creating some form of content audit. And again, like if you know what you're looking for, then you're able to ask all these questions to code interpreter so you can get the insights that you need. So, yeah.
What else can we do real quick? Let's see.
Though we are hitting the hour mark, so we have like
I know.
one little thing that you can try out, and
All
then
right, all
maybe
right.
next week, if anyone has any such most profound aspects of the data,
I don't know. Try
they'll start
something.
giving you some like philosophical stuff.
That'd be great. That would be amazing.
Socrates once said.
Okay, well, that's, I mean,
I mean, thanks.
like,
I mean, fluctuating engagements and impressions. Yeah, sure.
yeah, a
Yeah,
moderate
so
positive correlation. So you're barely gaining new people.
yeah. And again, it's like sometimes there is a bit of like a hit and miss aspect to like when you ask it for insights. Like sometimes
Mm,
it does a great job at finding things for you, but I think it probably depends on the kind of report that you're asking it to do. Maybe it hasn't been trained on enough content audits or something like that. But if you're just doing like just general data stuff, it gives like good insights, and then sometimes it does this where it's like, oh, there is a correlation, and I'm like, I know there's a correlation. I want you to go the extra mile and just like tell me what this means.
I'm just gonna ask it for something
Or a pie chart. Just give me
random.
any pie chart.
Yeah, just give me something random. Let me see. Wow.
Mm.
I mean, we already know this, but at least now we can see a visualization for it. Oh,
I like how it apologizes in the middle too. Like I've seen it. Basically, if it can't do a thing, it's just like, sorry, this isn't working. I'm gonna do another thing now. Okay.
yeah, it just keeps trying at it. That's what I love.
Yeah, that's what I like about it.
Spit it
And then it
here
tells you
again.
what it's doing next.
Yep.
But there are times when it doesn't actually tell you what it's doing. I found that when I actually started the conversation with like, you are a con, and that's where I was saying that it's better to actually just keep it as code interpreter before before you start asking it for insights.
Right.
Let's
Did it
correct this and create the pie chart again.
did it manage to do it? Or did it just stop?
You can do it, buddy.
Come on. What do you got under there? Oh, that's too simple. There's no way that's done.
Right.
I think it
Hello.
just died. Processed too much data. Or tried to. Oh my
You
gosh.
ran out of tokens.
No, thankfully, I was surprised. I managed to go for like almost over
Try
an hour
regenerating
yesterday.
it. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, you know what though? Hold on. No, never mind. We'll let it go. Ah, see, so now it's asking me. So I find that a little bit better.
All right.
Let's see.
It's forcing you to actually think.
I know, right? Um,
Our AI overlords aren't as smart as we think they are.
let's see you do that. Let's do this. Yeah, let's make it easy. That should be pretty easy. Now, how long would that take a human to do? This is what's like the most interesting aspect of this.
I mean, it depends on like how experienced the human is. I think it's like, if for me, I know my way around data, but I'm not like data analyst level type of person, especially with social media. So this would probably take me an hour or two just to figure out even like what the heck I'm supposed to do with this data and stuff. Data analysts, I'm pretty sure this would take them like
I
maybe
mean,
an
it's
hour or less, 30 minutes, but still that's way more time than whatever code interpreter is doing right now.
yeah, this is awesome. Let's see. I wish it could. Yeah, I wish it could do the date reference. Uh, let's see. Well, it can actually. Let's see. Really? That's not how you spell that?
Or more lengthily. Isn't that lengthily? I'm sure it can
I don't
understand.
know.
I'm sure it will understand what you're trying to say.
Oh, there's.
It'll
That'll
find
work,
like you're
right?
actually you're actually posting longer content on Wednesdays because like
I mean, it's interesting to know, right? So, because it's telling me initially what days of the week that are more effective. Now it's showing me what's the most effective, or like what are the most distributed lengths, which, for 70% of my posts is over 200. Let's see. If it can actually tell me like what days I post that longer content on, and then I can match that up to the days that I have higher engagement levels,
Yeah.
and I'll know like maybe I'll know whether or not the longer posts are related to those days. Let's say.
And to put this into perspective of like how big this actually is, like think about how many tools are actually out there that can give you this deep of an analysis of your content data, right? If there
Right.
is a tool out there that does this kind of stuff, I'm pretty sure the subscription for that is way higher than the $20 that you are paying for Chat GPT Plus. Was it Chat GPT Plus or Chat GPT Pro? Whatever it's called.
Bro.
The
Yeah.
paid subscription of Chat GPT, right? So
Yeah, I think it
just
is.
having this power in your hands for like $20 a month is such a huge thing, and it will
Right.
save you so much time. And the the really great thing about this as well is that the data becomes interactive, because now you can actually ask it questions rather than being fed whatever the platform thinks you need to know about the data that you're plugging into it with like your social media and stuff. Here it's like, if you know what you want and what kind of insights you're looking for, kind of like what Nico's doing right now, where he's actually like, okay, so I want to correlate the length of my posts to like the impressions and the engagements and stuff like that. Like what other tool can do this? And then like, yeah, it generates the document, the Word document for you, so you can actually edit it if as needed. And if there are visualizations that you don't like and you want to replace it with, you can just directly ask Chat GPT to generate the kind of visualizations you want, so you don't have to
Right.
tinker around with a spreadsheet, figure out what even options you have, how to
How
format
it's
the
going to
data
work
and all that
best.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And or you don't even have to, like, if you have a data person in your team, like maybe that person's swamped with work already, you can just do this on your own now.
Yeah. When it like, I mean, the fact that it takes a long time doesn't bother me at all because
Because it would have taken you like way longer to
way
even like
longer.
get that.
Yeah.
It's like now it's like as long as you
Like,
can
all right.
imagine it and communicate it to the AI assistant, you're gonna get the insights that you need.
Mhm. So now it's calling it LinkedIn Social Progress Report.
Social progress sounds like a report like China would have on its people.
You had to bring it up, didn't you?
As just saying, as someone who lives in China.
You just had to bring it up.
Oh my god! Just give
Oh,
yourself a social credit score, LinkedIn social credit score.
okay. Let's see. Let me pull this back. I love that. For those of you guys who don't know about the social credit score, you should look it up.
Yeah, you should definitely look it up about like how the social credit score works in China. Not that Hong Kong has it yet, but like yeah, parts of China have it.
There you go. So everything that we've looked at. So that's the thing is like all the data that you look at, all the data that you pull, all the visualizations that you pull together. Now we have this comprehensive report of everything we've done in the last hour. Could you do this much work in an hour with all of your social data? Could you? I don't think you can, guys. I really don't think you can. For
And the
20,
thing
like,
is, like, once you know how to do this the first time, it's probably
it
gonna
takes
take
even
you
less
like
time next
10,
time.
20 minutes. 20 minutes, because
Yep,
like you now you know the prompts that work with it, and like
exactly.
how you're supposed to interact with Chat GPT in order to like get what you want. And like I said, we've done a bit of testing with this and have basically told you that okay, it's better if you just leave it as code interpreter first and then give it a role rather than doing a role thing and then code interpreter, because
Right,
then you'd have to spend like what, an extra hour or two or three just trying to figure out the best way to prompt this thing, which is why our AI tools to actually give you like valuable stuff. And as I said, this is going to improve over time. We're still in the beta phase of it, and the more data it's getting from us in terms of whether it's doing a good job or not. And I'm pretty sure if people are asking it more, like how to, like, like kind of giving it directions of what a content audit looks like, or maybe plugging in what a good content audit looks like, this is going to get better over time.
I'm sorry, guys. I keep thinking of the
You have
questions
to,
like as they and then it's like, well, I've got to know.
okay, we gotta end it
Okay,
at this
all right, we
one.
gotta we do.
So it's already almost
See, that's the
one
thing. It's
hour
like
and
once
15
it gets
minutes.
the internet aspect, though.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! All right. So at least as of 2021 data, right? Which is, I mean, it's horrific, but because when you're trying to count stats, you obviously want like last month's stats compared to your own stuff. But this, given like that, like I'm sure there's a really good reason why they didn't do the whole like code interpreter plus internet. And I'm sure this is
Oh no,
part
I
of
feel like that's gonna be dangerous.
yeah, a little bit with stock markets especially. All
Yeah.
right, guys, we got
Interested in like seeing all of that stuff. But yeah, let's kind of continue this on like next week. Maybe again, if any of you have any suggestions for things for us to cover, or questions you want us to ask as a continuation to whatever we were doing today, feel free to let us know. And also, if you got any like cool insights from this episode, do share it with your network. We'd love to get more eyes on this show, especially like, you've kind of seen the value of like having these two nerds basically telling you how to use chat gpt for useful things. So
Mhm.
yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for like geeking out with us for the past hour or so.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.